And this president doesn't have good faith disagreement with any orders. He does not care. He is a lawless criminal. And we have basically a criminal regime. And if you believe that they are going to abide by court orders, they're not going to do it. They're already probably trying to slide around the court orders.
He's not a normal man. He is a narcissist, a pathological narcissist, a malignant narcissist, a narcissistic sociopath. You can use any of those terms interchangeably. He is panicked and terrified. And narcissists live in panic and terror that their true selves, their true inadequacies will be revealed to the world. So they create this false image of themselves, and they lie and they brag and they say things about themselves that aren't true, e.g. George Santos. And at the same time, they want to make themselves the center of attention. So yes, he is, absolutely.
Donald Trump never saw this ambush coming. Not from liberals, not from prosecutors, but from deep within his own political DNA. On live TV, George Conway, yes, the husband of Trump's most loyal former advisor, ripped into the ex-president's legacy like a man on a mission, precise and cold. This wasn't a headline-grabbing stunt or some partisan roast. This was surgical, brutal, and calm. Conway didn't raise his voice. He raised the facts. And for once, Trump's usual armor didn't hold up. There were no cheap shots, no made-for-TV drama. Just methodical teardown of Trump's lies, fury, and unraveling psyche, delivered with the kind of composure that hits harder than yelling ever could. Conway wasn't there to rant.
He can't help himself but emotionally react to things. But one of the things that he's a narcissistic sociopath. That's the thing everyone has to kind of get used to. It's the reason why you cannot normalize him. You cannot treat him like a normal human being, because he's not. He is unwell. And that's why he can't follow. He's not going to be able to follow his lawyer's directions. That's why, he played right into the plaintiff's hands in the E. Jean Carroll case. They're trying to show basically he's a jerk. And what does he do? He acts like a jerk right in front of the jury. He shows disrespect for the jury. And the fact of the matter is, he's saying, none of this ever happened. Well, okay, where's your testimony?
He was there to reveal. And as he laid out his case piece by piece, something happened that Trump hadn't experienced in years. His defense mechanisms crumbled, live, and in front of millions. Trump's response? A full-blown digital meltdown. Not a press release. Not a rebuttal. A tantrum. Because this wasn't just someone questioning his politics. It was someone targeting the very essence of his public persona. Conway didn't go after Trump the candidate. He went after Trump the man. And what he exposed wasn't just corruption. It was deep, volatile instability sitting at the core of the most dangerous figure in modern American politics. Conway's words weren't just a political takedown.
The other thing that he did was to show that this is his modus operandi. He intends to. He's willing to use the threat of violence or to incite violence in order to coerce government officials to either forego enforcing the law against him or to, violate the law as he sought to have Pence and members of Congress do on January 6th.
They were a national warning. This wasn't some petty feud or ego clash. It was a man sounding the alarm. Conway didn't say Trump was simply unfit to lead. He said Trump couldn't even function under pressure. Narcissism, sociopathy, vengeful obsession. These weren't jabs. They were clinical observations. And Trump's reaction? Pure chaos. There was no measured rebuttal, no calm defense. Just panic, raw and online. Truth Social lit up like a flare in the night. Only it wasn't strategy, it was desperation. Conway hadn't just gotten under Trump.
Stage 3 is basically where we are ignoring laws and running roughshod over laws. They're basically refusing to spend money appropriated by Congress. which is against the law. The law requires the president to spend money. The president can't not spend the money that's been allocated for particular subjects. And you've got this guy who's not been appointed lawfully under the Constitution.
Let's talk about that.
Musk. Yep. And so that's stage 3. Stage 4 is going to be, well, these courts are telling me not to obey orders. Why should I? I don't want to obey the law, so why am I obeying the courts? And stage 4 is metastasis. Stage 4 is when democracy can die, and the rule of law can die, and constitutionalism can die. And we unless something happens radically, I can't see how we don't get to stage 4, because the logical path that they are taking, which
skin. He cut straight through the media firewall Trump used for years to control the narrative. The man who once dominated entire news cycles with a tweet now looked like he was drowning in his own feed. The tweets came fast, furious, and all caps, personal insults, deflections, unhinged rants. It wasn't power. It was fear. Conway didn't accuse Trump of breaking laws. He accused him of breaking reality. And here's the part that really stung. Millions believed him. The foundation Trump built, smoke, mirrors, bluster, just got a dose of hard, cold truth, and it shattered. This wasn't some liberal pundit calling Trump unhinged. This was a conservative insider, a seasoned legal powerhouse, who once brushed shoulders with Trump's world and walked away alarmed. George Conway didn't show up for shock value. He came armed with receipts, patterns, and precision. He didn't frame Trump as a politician gone rogue. He described him as a chaos engine, one that can't coexist with order, with law, with institutions. And he didn't stop there. Conway made it clear. Trump didn't just bump heads with the system. He poisoned it. Cabinet after cabinet shuffled like a game of musical chairs. Baseless lawsuits launched like fireworks. Praise for dictators flew out like compliments at a campaign rally. Conway wove every move into a clear, chilling pattern. This wasn't incompetence. This was deliberate. He delivered it like a prosecutor, walking a jury. America, through Trump's record. And the deeper he went, the more the picture came into focus. This wasn't accidental chaos. It was strategy, not sloppy, but surgical. And that realization, it hit like a gut punch. Because if destruction was a goal, Trump played the game to perfection. Conway didn't stop at Trump's politics. He went for something even more fragile. The myth of Trump's personal life. Melania, the ever-silent First Lady, became a metaphor Conway used to shatter the illusion of control. He framed their marriage not as a bond, but a broadcast. Manufactured smiles, robotic handholds, and soulless glances. It wasn't a partnership. It was performance art, mirroring Trump's entire presidency. Hollow, cold, collapsing. Melania vanished from the spotlight, but Conway didn't let go. He doubled down, exposing not just dysfunction, but the collapse of an empire built on image. Trump wasn't just exposed, he was undone, and his meltdown wasn't subtle. He fired off unhinged posts on Truth Social, not with strategy but with raw panic. Conway had pierced the media armor and gone for the brainstem. Trump, the man who once bent news cycles to his will, was now just a frantic voice in a digital void, screaming into the algorithm with caps lock desperation. But Conway stayed calm, precise, clinical. He argued that Trump's outbursts weren't emotional. They were calculated. Distraction tactics meant to stall justice, to buy time, to twist attention. It wasn't chaos by accident. It was a playbook, a collapsing strongman's last move. And then Conway went wider. He didn't just come for Trump. He went for the whole MAGA ecosystem. He called out the lawyers, the power brokers, the enablers who chose loyalty over law. He said every time Trump dodges accountability, it doesn't prove his strength. It reveals the system's weakness. This wasn't about left versus right anymore. This was about a legal framework buckling under the pressure of fear, judges hesitating, institutions cracking. And Conway made it clear. Trump doesn't want to govern the system. He wants to break it, grind it down until it only works for him. Conway knows, because he was almost part of it. He was offered a top job at the Department of Justice. Background cleared, staff interviews started, office tour complete. He was in until the queasiness hit. He saw it wasn't a government. It was a show, a chaos engine wrapped in flags. And so he walked. He says now that supporting Trump in 2016 was one of the worst decisions of his life. And he owns it. No deflection, no spin, just accountability. And it's that clarity that makes Conway such a threat. He's not a Democrat. He's not chasing clout. He's a lifelong conservative who's pulled the emergency brake. And people are listening. Trump can scream fake news all he wants. But when someone like George Conway steps forward with detailed diagnosis, narcissism, paranoia, sociopathy, and says, this man is mentally unfit for power, it hits different. Because Conway isn't flipping sides. He's drawing a line, daring the GOP to stop pretending they don't see the wreck ahead. Even Kellyanne, Trump's most loyal soldier, was shocked when George started tweeting. Because in 2016, he didn't tweet at all. But when he saw the machine up close and walked away, he couldn't stay silent. Now, over 100,000 tweets and counting. Not for drama, but because, as Conway sees it, the house is on fire. And it's time to stop pretending it's just a spark. George Conway's critique of Donald Trump wasn't just political. It was painfully personal. He admitted that without his former wife Kellyanne Conway encouraging him and managing the home front, he wouldn't have been able to do what he did. But then, he pulled back the curtain on what that partnership really looked like. It wasn't a team. It was a family divided by ideology, morality, and emotional trauma. George spoke of the inner war, watching Kellyanne defend a man he found horrifying. And their daughter Claudia? She became the voice of the repressed, using TikTok to scream truths most adults were too afraid to say. She accused both parents of abuse, manipulation, and neglect. Her videos didn't feel like rebellion. They felt like cries for help from a child raised inside the political theater's darkest corner. George didn't deny it. He didn't flinch. He brought it all into the spotlight, not to win points, but to show what this movement cost behind closed doors. While Trump fired off manic posts, George moved like a surgeon, cold, sharp, precise. He didn't yell. He diagnosed. He pointed to Trump's obsessive need for loyalty, his rejection of experts, and the revenge taken on those who question him. Conway warned that this isn't new. It's happening again. Trump is rebuilding a circle not to govern, but to obey. And if he returns, the chaos won't be spontaneous. It will be deliberate. Conway didn't speculate. He presented receipts. From Comey to Sessions to Esper, he listed every loyalist discarded the moment they showed independent thought. He described Trump not as unpredictable, but as pathological, impulsive, erratic, addicted to power. And most disturbing of all, it's not just Trump, it's the system enabling him. The scariest thing Conway revealed wasn't about Trump at all. It was about us. About a country so used to scandal it's gone numb. About a nation that's learned to laugh at tyranny, accept delusion, and call it politics. Conway said Trump hasn't just manipulated the media, he's reshaped American reality. And as Trump spirals deeper into delusion, the danger only grows. Because a cornered narcissist doesn't surrender, he destroys. Conway made it clear, we are not witnessing the end of Trump's chaos. We are standing at the edge of something worse. And if the Republican Party doesn't stop excusing, defending, and submitting to him, it won't just be Trump who brings the system down. It will be all of them. Conway wasn't giving a hot take. He was giving a warning. And this time, there might not be another. George Conway's takedown of Donald Trump wasn't just political. It was personal, piercing, and terrifying in its precision. He didn't scream. He didn't grandstand. Instead, he spoke with the cold clarity of someone who'd lived inside the chaos and come out scorched. He called Trump not a politician, but a chaos engine, someone who doesn't just clash with institutions, he corrodes them. Conway laid bare the emotional toll it took on his own family. His marriage to Kellyanne, Trump's top defender, and their daughter Claudia, who publicly rebelled against the dysfunction. But this wasn't a sob story. It was a case study. Conway argued that Trump's destruction isn't accidental. It's strategic. He surrounds himself with loyalists, silences dissent, punishes truth, and rewards obedience. And the scariest part? It's working again. Trump's not assembling a government. He's building an obedience cult. Conway warned that Trump doesn't evolve, he escalates. Every scandal makes him more reckless, not more restrained. And while the media often treats Trump like a circus act, Conway treated him like a clinical case of emotional decay, a man allergic to accountability, addicted to chaos, and increasingly unstable. He pointed out the real danger isn't just Trump the man, but Trumpism, the ideology of vengeance and delusion that now operates even without him. Even if Trump disappears, Conway warned, the system he built of rage, denial, and tribalism remains. And if we don't confront it, the next version won't just be louder. It'll be smarter, crueler. Conway didn't offer hope. He issued a challenge. Stop laughing. Stop normalizing. Stop pretending this is politics as usual. Because Trump isn't the end, he's the test. And how this country responds will define what kind of democracy, if any, we leave behind.